Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, kept finding bottles of peppermint schnapps in my yard. I collected then waited. Guy wouldn't let me pass him on the highway, so I got him pulled over. I got revenge on my evil neighbor. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Kept finding bottles of peppermint schnapps in my yard. I collected then waited. I bought a house on a corner when I moved to this area. I kept the yard cut and clean. This corner seems to be a place where trash was thrown out regularly. From the beginning I kept finding peppermint schnapps pints along one of the fence lines. The first one I hit with a mower. It seemed every day I would see one on my property in the same spot. I knew it had to be a neighbor, so I quit throwing them in the recycling bin and started to collect one after another. I hoped to eventually find whoever had this bad habit. I filled one huge contractor bag. Then one turned into two. One day I was off early and trimming the hedges by the house. Then I heard it. A thunk followed by something hitting the fence. I finally caught the litter bug. Now I have the car and driver. I jumped in my truck and headed the direction the guy went. He had just got out of the car and went inside. I drove back home and loaded the heavy bags of glass pints. Later that evening I went to this man's house. There was another car in the driveway. I got out, rang the doorbell and walked back to get the bags. An older woman answered the door as I was coming back. She asked if she could help me. I said yes. I told her that Eve dealt with this problem and was tired of it. The husband had now come outside. I took one bag and dumped it on the driveway. Bottles broke and flopped around. I grabbed the other bag and did the same. I told them that I was sick of picking up after him and had better not see another pint in my yard. She immediately turned to him and started yelling. Apparently he had a bad drinking problem and promised that he quit. He would down the pint before he got home and my yard was his dumping zone. I never did see another bottle of schnapps after this. I could tell that you are normally a very patient person, but this one time you just schnapped. Badum TSS. Good for you, you were just returning his property. Very civic-minded of you. Think of how much money he'll make at the bottle depot. OP is so kind and neighborly. Next week on Petty Revenge, some guy collected all the schnapps bottles I was throwing on his lawn and dumped them in my driveway, causing a huge blowout with my wife. Took all the bottles to the redemption center and bought 2 bottles of schnapps with the proceeds. Ah, peppermint schnapps. That way his breath don't stink of booze, smart. Glad you told her. This dude was drunk driving daily and would eventually hurt either himself or someone else. I had a neighbor dumping a trash bag in front of my house in the middle of the night. A camera finally caught him, and that night of doing it, I went straight to his front door, dumped the entire contents of his trash on his doorstep. Ever since that incident years later, never did it again. Sometimes one has to do that for them to get the hint. Guy wouldn't let me pass him on the highway, so I got him pulled over. A while back now I was driving home on a 2-lane highway between cities pretty late at night and a dude in a Dodge Charger was in front of me. We were both going a bit above the limit, nothing crazy, only like 10 kilometers per hour for him and 20 kilometers per hour for me. I wanted to pass, so I moved into the left passing lane and he proceeded to accelerate to exceed my speed and jump into the left lane to cut me off. I thought nothing of it, figured he was speeding up and I still get to go the speed I wanted, so I got back in the right lane and kept at the same speed, but then he jumps back in the right lane to cut me off again and slows down to below the limit. Every time I tried to pass him he'd do the same thing. After like 20 minutes of this, as I've done this drive many times, I remembered we were getting close to a side road where police like to hide. So I stepped on the gas and went like 40 over the limit, and sure enough, he tried to cut me off again by going about 50 over. I quickly slowed down right before we passed the side road and the cop immediately jumped out and pulled him over. I've never felt a greater moment of satisfaction in my life. If you are out there, Dodge Charger guy. For all that charging he did, I'm surprised he couldn't dodge that cop car. Ooh. I see what you did here. Clever. Something similar happened to me. West Dorset, UK, 50 miles per hour limit road, single carriageway, double solid white line in the middle, no overtaking. I'm doing 50 miles per hour, and some guy in a sports car zooms past on a blind left bend. 2 miles later, traffic has slowed right down to pass a traffic incident. His car is at the side of the road and he's being put in the back of the police car, I think in handcuffs. I laughed. Charger drivers are just the worst. At least where I live. Woohoo! Had similar happen, way back when I was driving to college at least twice a week, same old conversion van, for well over a year. Old single lane road, every time a passing area happened, they would speed up, then slow down to about 20 under the speed limit in areas you can't pass. So frustrating, as it was a main road into this small college town. Ending up having to leave half an hour earlier for just in case. It's so funny you specified the car because I've told my husband multiple times that only Aholis drive Chargers and Mustangs. They always have terrible road etiquette. Never fails. That and those stupid high-stack trucks that are like triple the size they need to be and aren't work trucks, you can always tell. Cars are a lot like dog breeds. If someone goes out of their way to get a certain kind of usually says a lot about the person. Think Doberman versus Poodle, Chihuahua versus Golden Retriever. See the point? I got revenge on my evil neighbor. I had been living in a small house set back from the rest of the rows of homes on the street. The lady in front to the right of me hated me, my boyfriend, my dog, everything about us, because she wanted the property for herself. One particularly trying week. She had called the cops on us 4 times, and as we were very quiet, clean people, the cops just left right away after apologizing. The neighbor completely lost her mind and had the city come out to try and condemn the home for looking shoddy. It didn't have siding. I woke up to find a cop, her, and the city assessors outside snapping pics. They tried and put me through hell. So, I asked a friend from a warm state to send me some cockroaches. The evil lady owned a restaurant downtown, and I put over 30 live cockroaches in her bathroom. Then I called on her for health code violations. She was shut down, and she soon moved far away. I have a former colleague who brought roaches into the office where we worked so that the owner would be forced to let everyone work from home. At the time, he would only let certain people work from home and not others, all based on favoritism. Some people had to drive hours to get there and the pay was barely above minimum wage. I was one of the people who could work from home and I only lived 3 miles away. The company had exterminators out over and over again and nothing would work. Her plan succeeded. I'd say that was a bit more than petty, but well played. I'm going to guess that the roaches were the cleanest things in that place, as otherwise, dumped bugs would have been obvious as a prank. Need to know, how did the roaches get shipped without escaping their package? Those things are ninja. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.